Friends, if you're looking for real old school laughs, you're in for a treat because we've got them right here. Flip City Magazine. Remember Mad Magazine? Then it went woke? Wow, don't worry. Flip City has no chance of going woke. That's right. 4 times a year, you'll get an actual printed magazine full of jokes, stories, comics, and more, all about today's pop culture, entertainment, and woke politics. Flip City takes terrible entertainment trends we love to hate with hilarious parodies of Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, The Walking Dead, Star Trek, Hunters, and more. Trust me when I say there is nothing else like Flip City on the market. So subscribe today.
It's a combination of Dirty Dozen, Seven Samurai, and Star Wars in space.
We're gonna get a little bit crazy, wild and maybe even vulgar, if you please. It's after dark and we're gonna light it up. We got some fun in store for you, no tease. It's time for Midnight Edge. A little naughty, will hopefully make you chuckle, but we ain't trying to hurt nobody, so get ready quick on the double, cause it's time for Midnight's Edge After Dark.
Tonight, it's our fault that movies suck. And you're trying to cancel Richard Dreyfuss. What a bitch. We're going to talk about that and so much more. Welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark. I'm Tom Connors. We have a Mexican item man with us.
Yes, I'm appearing under protest. I'm not I'm not camera on because no one on this panel ever is camera on, so I'm appearing camera off in protest. You're ruining my speech, Tom. Okay.
Well, that's kind of my thing. I pop on from time to time.
You ruined my speech. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. Thanks. Good to be here. Thanks so much.
Hey, buddy.
Yes, indeed. And I hear you're having a meetup.
Yeah, right now it's a meetup of one person that is just me. I will be Mexican. It's like I posted it on Twitter and I put it on my fledgling, non-existent YouTube channel, and I didn't get one single taker. Mexican Iron Man will be in the ATL in Atlanta this weekend. I will be arriving either Friday night or Saturday morning. I will be there all day Saturday attending the Atlanta Braves versus Oakland Athletics game. And then I will either be by myself at a bar somewhere near Truist Baseball Park, or if anyone's in the ATL, they can come meet me in Atlanta. And I will be posting the location probably Friday afternoon. But I think I'm only going to do that. I mean, if no one wants to meet me in Atlanta.
Are you listening, Atlanta? This Mexican Iron Man needs your help.
No, but the good news is if no one wants to meet me, then that's further proof that I am not a YouTuber. Yep.
If you come to New Jersey, I'll meet you.
I was just in New Jersey. I just landed in New Jersey 10 days ago.
Why didn't you tell me?
I didn't know you were in New Jersey. I landed in Newark Airport and then drove out to the middle of fucking nowhere, right by the border.
We don't always know where everybody is located. We don't try
well,
to dox
I mean,
ourselves.
are you going to be there again?
Yes, I'll be there in October, November.
Hey, he passed through New Orleans one time and he didn't tell me he was there.
Islands.
Oh my God. All right. I'm in Atlanta this weekend. Anybody that wants to go, free nachos.
So
free
when did you go to
margaritas.
Wisconsin and not tell me, motherfucker?
Oh my God. Hashtag, welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark emotionally needy special edition.
Well, I'm emotionally needy for a Canadian. Thank God one finally showed up. How you doing, Cece? Good talking.
He's doing great.
Can't hear you.
He's doing great. Yeah.
He's
You're
doing
muted.
especially well, Cece.
Fantastic.
Oops, shit. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, I was just looking.
You can hear me now?
Yeah.
Now we can hear you. There you go.
So I
How
just
you
got off
doing,
the phone with
CC?
my uncle, and he saw Furiosa, and he thought, yeah, this is a really great movie. But he was the only person in the theater, so he was like, why am I the only person here? So then he went to the internet, and he checked out Midnight's Edge and your review, and he said, oh, that was a great review. And so he wanted to compliment that video you guys did.
So your uncle knows who we are? Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a subscriber now.
Well, cool. Hello, Uncle CC.
Yeah.
Or CC's uncle. However you want to.
Uncle Karaoke.
Welcome to the program. Yeah, Uncle Karaoke.
I like that one. Uncle Karaoke.
Uncle Karaoke is good.
Yeah.
It sounds like a show.
It does.
Oh Lord. We also have with us Scribbles. How you doing?
Doing all right. Thanks for having me on. Hope everybody's having a good day after Memorial Day.
It is that. And we're glad to have you here. We also have Price of Reason, in case you're curious how much it costs. It's everything.
Wow.
Yeah. I saw Furiosa. I actually saw it.
Oh my. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So hang on to your thoughts.
I didn't see Garfield though, have to be honest.
I wanted to, but I just didn't get to it.
Yeah, same.
Kalabi's in the house, though. I hear you're having some thunderstorms. You're probably getting we got a hell of a rain earlier today, but I don't think it went that far south that fast. I was going to say.
A few power fluctuations that were so fast. The only thing that went up was the internet and the computer. Nothing else. Barely blinked, but you never know what could happen again. It happened a couple times. So yeah, we're looking at a bad weather week. Nothing new here.
All right.
Mhm.
We also have Nick Weiser. How you doing?
I'm ready to dish out punishment tonight. Hi everyone. How you doing? Yeah, you all like, whoa, awkward. What happened to Nick type of moment? No, yeah, happy to be here. Furiosa absolutely had a huge bomb. I mean, I've seen bombs before, but this is the most sparkly, dangly bomb I've ever seen. Ever. So yeah, let's talk about it. Hello, everyone.
We're gonna get to that. And yeah, with that, let's see what we got in the chat already. We got Nikki D in the house who says with $10, I started watching The Offer. First episode is slow. The show really takes off afterwards. Yes, it does. Acting and set pieces are terrific, and the actor they got to play young Pacino just looks just like him. I know, right? What's sad is we just lost Ruddy. The character that Miles Teller plays. Yeah, the actual guy. Yeah, Albert Ruddy just passed. Yeah, also known for, of course, Longest Yard and Hogan's Heroes. It's too bad, but yeah, great show. If you have not seen it, I highly recommend it. So hopefully you enjoy the rest of it, man. Yeah, as I was just saying, sadly, rest in peace, Albert. Yeah. It's too bad.
R.I.P.
I mean, Longest Yard's like a legendary Toxic Tuesday movie. So,
Oh yeah.
we got Truth, Hope, Love in the chat, who sends in 1999, says, if female-led movies started to have all females act like Melody from Josie and the Pussycats' dumb blonde stereotype, would that be better? No.
No.
I
think Hollywood does not realize a lot of things, and I know we've said it a lot, but there's 150 things you don't realize, and one is, okay, I understand the argument at face value of female-led movies, but they have overcorrected and then some. And not only do they overcorrect it, but with the amount, but they make a lot of them the same, to the point where now where you see that the tiny sliver of a character that gives you the perception of a girl boss, you end up just being put off by right away, even if the movie ends up panning out to not be that case. No, I didn't see Fury. Whoa. So I don't know if it was or was not. Obviously, there's some people saying now
it's rooted in woke. Now,
and maybe it is. But
I haven't seen it.
Pretending. Let's just pretend that it wasn't. I can't blame people for not wanting to see it, especially after all these years of the bait and switches, the over reaction on the overcorrection, and on top of it, no one asked for this type of movie. Even people who were going over the moon about Fury Road, no one said, "Hey, we need a spinoff on this character." They were just happy that basically she took over Mad Max's movie, but no one, even those people who claim to like that movie, didn't talk about that. It's a character who is about as memorable as, let's just say, if I'm going to use Spider-Man lore, he's about as memorable as like a Robbie Robertson. He's like, oh, hey, cool. This could be a character. That character exists. But it's not a character you make a movie off of. It's just not. But Hollywood thinks that they could just make a movie off of anyone and anything, and that people are just going to respond just because it simply exists.
Well, Andre put it well in the video today where it's like, this is not the character you make another movie of. People don't come to a Mad Max movie to see Furiosa. They come to a Mad Max movie to see Mad Max. And,
Yeah,
that's it, right?
And
that's the thing
Furiosa.
is- Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you're, I mean, I remember it's weird to me to see these articles now because I remember these same arguments being made when the movie came out because there was this big controversy. There was some website, I don't even know if it's around anymore. I think it was called like Return to Kings or something like that, or Return of Kings. And it made some comment about how, you know, a girl in a Mad Max movie or something. And it turned into this big thing where going to see Fury Road was now an act of protest in favor of feminist ideals or something. So it's weird how this has all come back around again, except it has a different resonance now than it did back when the movie first came out.
Well, and
this was an argument back then.
I've been dealing with trolls and just regular folks, and even some fans. I hate to say it, some fans who are dealing with cognitive dissonance. And I'm going to say it this way. I've said it a few other times, but I'll say it out loud here. I'm not saying you can't like the movie. I'm not saying it can't be good and woke, right? See, that's the thing. We are so used to everything being shit and woke. Furiosa, the first one, when it first came out, we hadn't been inundated with tons and tons and tons of strong female protagonists that are using a male character to leap off of, right? I didn't like it then for that reason. And every time I said something, a bunch of people give me shit.
Not me. I smelled a rat when I saw Fury Road.
And we'll get to that in just a moment because I'm going to get your thoughts on this because you actually saw the film, the newest one.
But I've always agreed with you.
Yeah, and I had this problem with it then. I had the problem, you know, also with just not just that, but how certain things in the film does not fit within the universe and the revisionist history that George has had on the franchise. To me, George belongs maybe along with a few other creators who need to have their franchises saved from the actual creator. I know I hate to say it, but there's a lot of hero worship. People are like, well, he can do whatever he wants. And it's like, yeah, well, they said the same thing about George Lucas during the prequels too. And I get it. There's some people are going to be like, what? Well, there's still problems there regardless. You can like them and still admit there's problems. Just like you can like Fury Road and still admit that it's woke. See, that's my issue is there's too many people who are just completely blowing it off like, oh, well, you're wrong. It's like, no, this movie and its prequel now are exactly, or Fury Road and its prequel, are exactly everything that we have had problems with in this industry now for the last 7-8 years. It's just the first one that got out the gate. And that one failed for that reason. And because nobody was interested in seeing somebody else played Mad Max in a movie where he gets sidelined by some chick. And then I constantly see people using the straw man argument. Well, you motherfuckers would say the same damn thing about Sarah Connor and Ripley and no. The difference is this. You don't have some male character coming in and trying to build off of Ripley, right? Or anything like that. No, they are original characters from the original franchise. That's my issue here is if George Miller had come out and did Furiosa a few years ago as its own thing, unrelated to Mad Max, we would not even be having this conversation. But I don't think it would have made any money either way. It did not that Fury Road made any money, but point being is this is not what anybody asked for, but there's plenty of original stuff that we can stand up to it. Why are we using these franchises time and time again to build these female characters up? Then you got all these dumb fuckers online going, well, it's your fault you're not going to see movies and blah, 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 blah. And this movie's great. Why aren't you going to see it? It's like, because people are sick of this shit.
I think
Sorry.
I think another factor at play here is just how much shit there is to see. Because I spent the last few days trying to organize my backlog again, which is, you know, an impossible task. But I mean, I got like 250 games on it that I still want to play. And I have like dozens of TV series and all these movies, and it just goes on and on and on, right? I have multiple hard drives to try and keep track of all of it. And so, I mean, if Furiosa doesn't have Mel Gibson in it, it just moves far enough down the list. I don't get to it. And I'm certainly not seeing it on opening weekend. Now, if it was its own thing with Furiosa, maybe I would be a little more interested, but I mean, with all the other great stuff I still have to see and play and all of that, it's still so far down the list that it might take me months to get to it because I haven't gotten to stuff that came out 5 years ago. And I've seen articles about that lately. It's like, yeah, I think the biggest portion of games that people are playing right now are games that are at least 5 years old or older. Because people are still catching up on stuff, or they also just like it better.
And knowing you, CC, how much you like gaming and stuff, like if this was an original character, I think you probably would have gravitated towards it more. Set in a post-apocalyptic world, it's its own thing.
I dig the setting. I'm all for it.
And that's where I wouldn't have had an issue with it either, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. But we have at least one person on this panel who has seen the film. So, Price, what did you feel about Furiosa? You saw it this weekend.
So the thing is that if I had to objectively look at it and say if I think it's the worst movie I've ever seen, it's not the worst movie I've ever seen. But when you make a movie like this and claim that it's part of the Mad Max saga or whatever they're claiming in their subtitle there, in their in the log line or whatever, it's called Furiosa, Mad Max saga. If you're going to pretend this is part of the Mad Max story, it should really have some kind of relevance. And when I looked at it, I just kept thinking to myself, this is an unnecessary movie. It's not necessarily the worst thing I've ever seen. It's unnecessary. It's very long. Forget about all the politics and the woke or whatever it is. It's very long. It's unnecessary. It doesn't contribute to the Mad Max saga that they claim in any way, shape, or form. And I feel like it's they doubled down on a bait and switch. With Fury Road, they got away with one movie like that. And barely got away with it because they didn't even make any money. They just broke even, maybe. And they got away with it once that they said that it's a Mad Max movie with Tom Hardy. Then you discover that Tom Hardy is kind of like, doesn't do anything there. And it
was bait.
He was
Which
bait.
is ironic that that's the meme we got out of that.
The meme is actually like, it describes what the movie, you're right, what the movie is, ironically.
He was a hood ornament.
What?
It literally at one point, he was a hood ornament.
Right.
For 40 minutes.
For 40 minutes. So basically, I think that they could pull a fast one once, and even then, the fast one didn't really work. To then go and say, hey, do you want a prequel about that character that was the bait and switch? I think that's already greed on a level that I think is already problematic. And when you watch this movie, there's really nothing special about it. I don't dislike Anya Taylor-Joy. I think that if they made a fourth Mad Max movie instead of that Fury Road, or never made Fury Road, made like one with an older Mel Gibson and brought other actors on board, such as Anya Taylor-Joy, there's certainly a movie that could have been made. She's a good actress. It's not that I dislike her or anything, but there's nothing to do here. It's just... It's a prequel of a prequel. I don't even know how to describe it. Who cares about it?
A movie that was just unnecessary in simpler terms. It didn't need to be made. Let's just make it. Because there's
didn't need to be made, and nothing happened in the theater that I thought to myself, okay, I was wrong. This really needed to be made. This is a whole new take. This is so interesting. Not one moment. I thought to myself, this shot is pretty cool. This is a pretty cool thing to look at. But at the same time, it's like it didn't leave me with anything. I could have seen it or not seen it, and it wouldn't have made a difference at all.
It's actually a prequel of a midquel. That's the other thing, too.
Yeah. Right, it's a prequel. Yeah. I mean, who cares? Who wanted this? Nobody.
And it makes no sense in the world. And then there's some people who come at me like, well, if you played the video game that there's this place that's refining gasoline, and I'm like, I'm not doing fucking homework, especially playing a fucking video game.
The video game, man. There's a great documentary. There's a great documentary out there about the video game making and the licensing and everything, and the split between the studio and the video game company that made that, and how they were planning on tying that game directly into Fury Road, like as a prequel, except it's its own thing. So the video game has got a whole bunch of different ideas that were sketched out for Fury Road. It's its own. It's got nothing to do with nothing. No, don't think that the video game has to be played to understand this thing or something. It's stupid.
It's ridiculous, and that's the thing, is because that was my bigger issue even then. At that time, more so than like I was pissed. Like what Klobby said, like he's literally a hood ornament for like 20, 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. Then he's treated like crap, but yet they do trust him and they do let him finally help. Right? Like that's part of it. And then there's those silly lines like hope is a dangerous thing, but that's her fuel. Like now going back, and I'm remembering these lines now. And I've only seen the movie like 2-3 times. right? So like I remember it stuck with me, but I'm like, I didn't like it. There was something about it, and I felt that feeling again walking out of The Last Jedi. That's when I could put my finger on it, and that's when I could pinpoint it, right? It's like, no. There's something that's just not right here about this movie. And here's the other things. The fuel part really bothered me because I'm like, okay, we're in a world where by the third film, we literally are using pig shit as fuel. And the movie before that, you had a whole group of people lying about having a tanker full of gas.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, and then we find out all they really got is a few measly gallons. Right. So that's George Miller at that time's way of telling us this is where we're at now, kids. And I've seen a lot of other people go, well, I just can't believe the world would go that bad that fast. It's like, do you guys not remember a few summers ago? Like, what the hell? We went completely and fucking sane for a summer. You had the Chaz or whatever the hell it was called. And those sons of bitches were about as bad as fucking Mad Max at that point. If you walked into one of those places, don't tell me the shit. Well, if we were to lose all infrastructure within a matter of a couple years, we'd be just like Mad Max. Guarantee you. Because what's worse about it is that nowadays, unlike if this would have happened 30, 40 years ago, there's nobody really left alive that knows how to do a lot of this shit. And not only that, they have no idea where to find out how to do it. You know what I mean?
I don't know how to hunt my own food.
Exactly. Do you know how to make gas?
No.
Do you know how to That's what I'm saying.
I mean, the farmers are going to outlive us all if they can protect their farms.
And don't think that the most important people aren't going to be fucking underground somewhere, and we're never going to hear from them again.
That too.
Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But like, I was just at this point with that movie. I'm just like, yes, and people can recover quickly. But society broke down pretty fucking quick, like I said, over that fucking few summers ago. Right? We were at a brink for a while. There where,
I mean, that was without toilet paper.
Yeah, that was just without toilet paper. Could you imagine? Walmarts were looking like the fucking race at the end of Road Warrior. Oh my God, we lost a child. Fuck her. She's only 3. Nobody misses her. She's only been around for a while. Just get the toilet paper to the car. And you're all on top of the fucking cart like the semi-truck in Road Warrior. The fucking 2-year-old's already feral. Oh, shit. The 12-year-old joined some other tribe fighting against you. Like, that's the thing. Do you think that overnight, first of all, that's the first thing that would happen is like you'd have half the country split off to the other one. It would be just a fucking mess. And then all the people who don't have guns would be bitching and pissing and moaning that the people who do have guns won't help them hunt for food.
Fuck no, we're not helping any of you motherfuckers.
That's where it's all going to start breaking down. It's just going to turn into one big fuck you mess.
Yeah, when someone comes knocking at my door, hey, can you help us go hunt down? Fuck no, who did you vote for? Biden? No, I'm out. Go start.
Click, get the fuck off my lawn.
It'd be like, get the fuck off my lawn. I'm like, you're an American. What kind of American are you? Don't tempt me with a good fucking time. Be coming knocking on Mexican Iron Man's door. Mike, help!
Oh shit!
Shit! Look at Mexico. It's already basically Mad Max if you go too far.
That's why no one wants to see this shit. Who the fuck wants to see this shit?
That's right. Mexicans are like, I'm not going to see that. It just reminds me of home.
Exactly, dude. If you live in Chicago, if you live in Chicago or LA, you're like, eh.
Yeah, New York. Like I can see that on the street, man.
You're like, wow, I thought the movie would be a lot worse.
Yeah, like if you live in Haiti, you're like, fuck, I can just look out my window and see Mad Max. I don't need to go to no theater.
Dude, Haiti, Nicaragua, so there's some places around the world that I've lived in where they watch Mad Max movie. They're like, wow, it's like a Disney movie.
They got it so good there in Australia.
It's Star Trek to them.
Oh man, no, like and Emperor said this earlier, and this is a really good point. After 8 years of having everything cranked up to 11 with feminist woke, even having a movie when it's down to 7 is too much. And that's what I'm saying. In this movie, I mean, frankly, would you say it was very woke, Price? Overall, I mean, I know Andre said it does have a lot of intersectionalism. He didn't care for it as much. You know,
I mean,
Culture was another one who saw it. So yeah.
listen, there's a few things in there. For example, the movie starts. I don't want to give any spoilers, but the movie starts and there's something happen that involves a girl, and then immediately two people have to step up to, kind of battle some bad guys and get her back. Immediately, it's just two women who they have the rifles, they have like they're on motorcycles or whatever it is, and they're driving around. Not one man in sight. Now, I think there may be some kind of weird explanation as to why this is the case, but you know what? It's like you just said, after 8 years of this nonsense, it's just like, I thought to myself, if there were a few dudes that would come out and they're like, we got to protect this girl, and they come out and they're all cool, maybe I would have eased into the movie a little more. But the fact that she's a girl, and then there's two other women trying to find the girl, and they're badasses, I'm just like, man, this is a bit over the top. That's how I felt just right out the gate. Maybe if there wasn't the 8 years that we had now, it wouldn't have been as noticeable for me. But man, I couldn't overlook it. It was kind of annoying. And I thought to myself, this annoys me. But as the movie kind of picks up, not everything is like that. There are some moments where, like, you know how those kind of girl boss moments where the woman smiles and the camera kind of zooms in on her determination, kind of. I don't know how to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
You know how there's like girl boss moments where the camera does this kind of like, I don't know if to say.
Oh yeah, we call that.
tracking.
I'm sorry. In Hawaii, in Hollywood, that's called the Zendaya shot.
Exactly, something like that. Like that, that the girl boss is now like on top of her game. They had some shots like this. Again, it's not all terrible, but it certainly exists, and it doesn't help the movie, which, like I said, doesn't feel like it really contributes to anything new to begin with. So to add these kind of little nuisances, it doesn't do it any favors.
So here's my question. So since it's an action movie and you've got Anna Taylor-Joy, who is a toothpick,
Weighs 5 pounds. Yes.
Yeah. Do her action sequences measure up in at least marginal physical reality?
I don't know.
Because you see, when I think of like a female action sequence that I could possibly maybe almost believe, there's this one stairway sequence in Atomic Blonde. If you never saw Atomic Blonde.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay.
But no, I didn't quite feel that she. I think that it's kind of weird that she's a toothpick, like you said, and she's kind of badass. I mean, they do stuff that she has with a rifle. She does stuff. I don't know, man. I liked Anya Taylor-Joy. I really like that actress. I think that this movie is not helping her in any way. And I didn't. It wasn't the worst, as bad as it could be when you imagine how skinny she is. But at the same time, it's, I don't know. I don't know if to say the action sequences are realistic either.
Yeah, I saw in the preview, there's a shot of her like hanging off the front of a vehicle. Now, I can believe her driving a vehicle, maybe. But, I mean, if she's like going against the wind shear of like a high-speed vehicle and
yeah. I mean, if they put the character into situations that seem real, I mean, you can have a character who isn't. You don't have to be a knockdown, drag out, boxer or something to be an effective action character, action star. It depends on how where you put the character and how you arrange for the scenarios they find themselves in. But when I think of like Furiosa, and I saw the Mad Max movie, she was fairly active, fairly physical, a lot of stuff going on. So when you reduce her down by age until the point where she's just like practically a teenager, it's like what realistically, what could she do to drive the plot forward in an action movie, except maybe, like you say, drive a car or a bike or do some very sort of technical things.
Maybe she could make tactical sandwiches.
That's the other problem here. That's the other problem here. We've got we're going from Charlize Theron to Sid the fucking Sloth from Ice Age. Like, what the fuck? Like,
well, that's another question I have. So when I saw the previews of this chick, I'm like, ugh. Then I just saw this chick basically half naked, like walking around in some videos on Twitter. And I was like, wait, well, was that the same chick? And it was. I'm like, how come they make them ugly? Why can't we have hot chicks that are heroes?
Well, that's the second thing, too, right? Women are not allowed to both be sexy.
Or is that me being a bigot again? Is that?
Yeah, but please.
No, I think the movie makes more money if they show her looks off a bit more.
God, I'm such a bigot.
Yeah, that's why we love you.
Bigot.
Bigot.
All right. Well, look, and Garfield, on the other hand, that was the other thing I wanted to ask you guys, because I'm actually kind of surprised how well Garfield's doing. I didn't expect it to do this well, but you guys think it's because of lack of competition more so, or anything than anything, or is it
I
because
think
Garfield
it was
is still
something.
that beloved? I didn't think
I
he was that well
think
known
it's
still.
simpler. I think it's more of families need something to do, and it was the right movie to take the kids to.
Yep.
Cost less to make.
Maybe I don't know the budget there, so that
there's
could be
not a-
possible. But as far as why, it's because if you look at no, here's why I believe this. Okay, if you look at a lot of movies that are usually under the Pixar or DreamWorks banners, a lot of these movies, made for the kids, a lot of them tend to do better on the opening Sundays than on the opening Fridays. And Garfield and movies like If did better on those Sundays and Mondays than they would on a Friday or Saturday. So I think Garfield is just that movie. Hey, we got the family together. We're all off Memorial Day. Let's go see Garfield, or let's go see If. So that's what happened there. Because even If went up, and Mad Max went down into third on Memorial Day. Got beat by If even.
Also, you got non-Disney animated features, which is probably a draw in and of itself these days.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. People want an alternative because they're being disappointed with what's going on with current Pixar, so they're seeking out other options. So, will Garfield have legs? Obviously, that's a question of contention. But yeah, I just believe that families want to go see a movie, and Garfield or If look to be the one to take the kids to, and Garfield won on Sunday, I think. Yeah, Garfield won on Sunday and Monday.
I don't think anybody saw the Garfield trailers. I certainly didn't, and thought, "Oh, this is going to be a woke film, or this is going to be unsafe to take."
No, my biggest issue was Chris Pratt doing the voice.
Because I'm not a parent, okay, so I can't speak from the perspective of actually being one. But it just seems to me like a safe family film is going to get some kind of traction at the box office right now, when there hasn't been a lot of things that you can just assume correctly will be okay to go and bring your family to, right? That might
what's
not
the
be
next
100 million, but it'll get you your 30 or 40.
Now, what's the next big one? Inside Out 2 or 3 or whatever the hell it is, where it's just like psychological warfare for an animated film or something.
I mean, there's a lot of people who won't go to see that, who probably aren't even asking the question when it comes to Garfield.
Mm-hmm.
They see that and it's like, they still trust it, right? And I think
that's a good point.
Reputation in history too. Now, I'm speaking as a Garfield fan, but it's never really been mangled as a brand, right?
I'm assuming
fine.
Yeah, Gary Jones sends in 5, and I'm assuming he means Garfield, because I remember I was gonna go. I actually asked my kid if he wanted to go, who's actually an adult now, but Garfield the movie was one of the first movies we saw when he was a kid and together, and he's always loved Garfield anyway. But I mean, he's liked a lot of the stuff I liked when I was younger too, because in that respect, some of that stuff like The Simpsons, Garfield, if it was animated stuff, he loved it. He's like, yeah, maybe. So he didn't really have like a huge desire, but he didn't say no. And according to Gary Jones, hour and 41 minutes, my son didn't grow bored. Yeah, that was the thing. I looked it up, and if it would have been shorter, I probably would have went. But I'm like, does a Garfield movie really require an hour and 41 minutes?
To be fair, Tom, I'll bet you an hour and 25 minutes of it, it's the actual movie, and the 50
You're not
minutes
wrong.
Credits.
You're probably not wrong.
I wish I was
every 5 minutes. But that's still technically part of the movie to me. So like at that point, I'm going, okay, so you add in all the trailers and everything else. That's 2 hours. I mean, look, I got the original Garfield movie.
Can they get away with releasing an 85, 86-minute film anymore?
They should be able to. They used to.
Or is there
isn't there a minimum? Is there like a 90-minute minimum or something to make a feature now or something? No.
Okay. The minimum always was, I believe, as long as it's more than 55 or 59 minutes, then it's considered a feature film. Yeah, the original live action Garfield, how long do you guys think it was?
85.
Hour and 35.
Closest one so far has been Scribe, and nobody else answered. 80 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Perfect length.
It is. Now, I might balk at paying $20 for that.
And the first movie isn't anything amazing, but it's a pretty basic ABC story. Like, really, it's Toy Story ripped off.
Can you imagine an 80-minute Marvel movie? Can we even conceive of an 80-minute
Sign
Marvel
me up
movie?
for that. That was my.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's like
head.
if somebody could make it. So you can make it happen, but do you think anybody would?
Well, that was my.
these days?
The one thing nice I could say about the Marvels was that it was the shortest Marvel movie.
Marvel movies,
the torture was brief.
Marvel movies take 80 minutes just to read all the producer credits. Before
Oh God, you're not wrong.
We wait 80 minutes just for the fucking end credit scenes.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, when you read the list of producers, I'm like, oh my fucking god!
Yeah.
Like, by the time that's done, I'm already halfway done with the nachos and on my way to the popcorn every fucking time.
You know, it's funny. You
I'm
mentioned
not a
when
big-
I was rewatching the 2004 Punisher, Thomas Jane, and I'm like, how does this movie that's such a low budget, even in 2004, have all these credits? And I looked at some of the credits, and one of them said the driver for John Travolta. I shit you not. This was the guy who worked on the movie. This is the guy who drove John Travolta around because he played Howard Saint, for those who do not know, the villain of the movie. And he got a credit in the movie credits for that. That was in 2004.
Okay, I looked this up. There's no excuses anymore. The Academy Motion Pictures of Arts and Sciences and the American Film Institute and British Film Institute all consider any film over 40 minutes a feature-length film.
40 minutes?
Yes.
Wow.
Now, the Screen Actors Guild, on the other hand, says it has to be at least 80. Well, of course, because they're fucking actors. They got to, they're how they are. Yeah. They got to hog the spotlight. Sundance Film Festival defines it as at least 50 minutes. See, that's probably the one that I recall. So like I remembered somewhere like it has to be, I think it was over 50 or 40. Yeah, I was gonna say somewhere I read that. But Goddess also points out, I don't know where you got that info, Goddess, but that's where I just Googled that myself. So yeah, some end credits are feature length now. I know, I started noticing that in the 2000s, right? Like Lord of the Rings was the first one where I'm like, Jesus Christ, there's how many damn because I stayed through the credits of the first film and the second film because I thought maybe, just maybe, there would be something, and I was dead fucking wrong.
I've always been amazed.
And I regretted it.
I've always been amazed by like I'll watch a movie that's like 2 hours long or something, and I'll come out like barely remembering what happened. Then I watch a movie like The Godfather that takes a little longer, sure, but I'm always amazed by just how efficient and effective storytelling can take place within the same amount of real estate of a film, one to the next, and then but like another film will just be completely absent of anything.
The Godfather has the right to be as long as it is because it's
no, I
good.
get it. Well, I know I get it, but it just boggles my mind that I can watch a movie like that and feel like I've been transported to a different world with all these characters and everything. And then another movie of the same length, and it's just like cotton candy and nothing. It just sometimes.
Well, that's where Script Doctor has gotten into it with screen time lengths, and he's right. Look, there is always that exception. I'm not going to say there isn't, right? If your movie is paced in a way that 2 hours and 5 minutes is the movie's length, then that's the movie's length. If it's Lord of the Rings, clearly you're going to need a little bit more time. But then there's also an argument to be made. Look at like Dune and Dune 2. I'll sit there and argue motherfucking Villeneuve wasted so much damn time telling us nothing.
Yeah.
When David Lynch got so much more in 3 hours. Like, how is that possible? Not only that, the miniseries did it in half the time.
No shit.
So there's no excuse. Like sometimes there's a point where it's like, okay, excess is excess. Snyder is excess, right? That's a grand example of excess. And I didn't mean to bring up Mikey. I'm just saying.
Bing, 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 bing.
We were doing
Bing,
so
bing, bing,
good.
bing, bing. The harassment of Mexican.
We went 39 minutes without bringing that up.
But then again, like back in the day, I remember, you go back to the 1930s, 1940s, 1950s, you watch the time. The film times were generally revolving around either A, whatever program they were trying to make, B, how much film they could afford. And, once we actually got feature films, like the average length was like 75, 80 minutes normally. And then films, you'd have some bigger films, like you had Ben-Hur, and then you had like, other stuff like that. And I'm sure there was earlier ones that were even longer. You know, I remember Metropolis being a very long film. That's the thing, you know. Back then, though, they tried to keep movies shorter just because the prints were expensive as hell, right? You're talking, you know, double-digit thousands and up and on throughout the years. It would cost per print to get these movies out there. So that's why they're like, I ain't putting a movie out that's more than 8 reels, right?
So digital filmmaking has ruined storytelling.
Part of the
basically.
problem, and you got streaming that added into that too, right? And just before the digital part, you had, and that was kind of advent at the same time. The other thing I think that adds to this was the DVD allowed for directors to do. Oh well, you do the one for the theaters, and then you do the unrated cut for video.
Right.
So a lot of these directors got used to this idea that they were going to be allowed to get another cut later on, or their excessively long cut was going to get put on home video. Well, that stopped happening after a while too, because they just realized people didn't give a shit outside of certain films, right? Not every goddamn thing needs to be an extended cut or unrated cut, just like not every damn movie needed to be in 3D. That's what killed the 3D craze this time out. Because otherwise, I think it could have stuck around for a while. Because this is not the blue red stuff that we're used to. This is actual decent 3D. Now, if they'd utilized it properly and only on films that deserved it instead of everything, maybe people wouldn't be so burnt out on it, or, you know, think the idea is so stupid. That's a whole nother conversation to be had here. Anyway, Gotta Swim says, ahead of Gone with the Wind, Leonard Maltin mentioned there was an intermission built into the film. He said Nolan and others could take no. Absolutely. This is another thing that bothers me is intermissions went away. I remember still having intermissions when I was a kid for movies that weren't even that long.
Yeah.
Intermissions are fucking awesome. I've actually accidentally had a couple of intermissions at my local theater because of something weird. Either the air went out or something happened. But I'm like, yeah, now's a good time to take a piss and load up on popcorn and get back in the game.
And I heard it's the theaters that didn't get rid of them. It's the studios.
I believe it.
And that's why they front loaded everything so hardcore, so they get you to buy shit.
Yeah.
Well, I'd buy more if I had more time. I mean, because once I go to the movies, I'm kind of there, especially the
Well, they know that too, Mikey, and that's their bitch point, right? They're like, well, you fuckers
if you're gonna make the movies longer, Tom, then why don't I get a fucking intermission? So I'm like not a spring chicken. My ass can, like, I need to go to the bathroom every now and again, like, or I got to carry a jug of water or something for that.
Here's another ironic fact or fun fact about Gone with the Wind. I don't think it's ironic. Sorry, kind of is, I guess, with the conversation if you look at it a certain way. In most theaters, it was shown over 2 nights. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean,
like
in
a
those
limited
days,
series.
they had nothing to do, so the 2 nights, you know, is not really a stretch for them.
Well, they didn't have movies playing all day long like they do now. They had one showing, and that was it. And they weren't.
No, it was the only movie they could have
for 3 hours. Exactly. Yeah.
They didn't have like a TV, I think, either. I think all they could do is just go to the movies and see this.
Well, on Saturdays, Klobby's probably old enough to remember this because you were born, what, 1902? Yes. I'm sure your parents dumped you off at the theaters a few times. 04, sorry.
They should drop us off every Saturday. I was during the summer. Absolutely. And there were intermissions for the big movies and stuff.
Cartoons and shit. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I went to a rescreening one time of Lawrence of Arabia in this big, huge, like old classic theater.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Oh, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing, and it was like it was a remastered cut and everything. It was perfect, and it came to the intermission, and I knew the intermission was coming, but as soon as it did, you take a breath for a second, sort of digest everything that you've seen, and the thing was, around that same time, I'd been attending stage plays. My mother got a subscription to a stage play theater thing, and they used to have intermissions and stuff, and it really feels much more grand. It feels much more fancy, I mean, or a luxury in a way, when you have a moment to sort of like take a breath, consider what you've watched, and wait for the next part to begin. It really took me sort of, virtually back to an era, I'm sure, that was much more classic. And they don't do that anymore. But then there's a lot of movies that I don't think they would benefit from an intermission because there's nothing to digest. In these giant, 2.5 hour movies of just like constant boom, 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 action, action, action. And like, there's nothing to consider. There's nothing to muse upon. There's no time jumps between the intermission and things to take advantage of. It's just mile a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Goddess, I think the intermission should come back. I think it's a huge mistake that they got rid of it.
I haven't seen one in 20 years.
Yeah. trying to
Last
remember the
movie you-
last one.
Last movie I saw with an intermission was 2003, I think. Gods and Generals.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Which that
Yeah,
movie
I was
really-
gonna say
I like
Lord
that
of the
movie.
Rings was one of the longest ones I saw where I remember they didn't, but Green Mile didn't have one before that. I didn't think. Or
Well,
did
Gods
that
and
come out
Generals was a
after?
long movie.
That was
Yeah.
after, maybe. I
Gods
don't
and
know.
Generals was about almost like
Yeah.
a 4.5 hour, almost.
Yeah,
Right.
that sucker was.
But I'm trying to remember. It's been a while. I mean, I remember when I was a kid we did, but that's where we actually, it was like the more local theater, and they literally would have like the let's go the lobby, but they actually cut it in themselves. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And all that shit. And honestly, an official one, I don't know. It's been a while. I can't think of the last one since maybe like the 70s or early 80s, maybe. Did
Somebody in the
like the
chat said
Right Stuff
Schindler's
have one?
List.
Did Schindler's
Right
List
Stuff-
actually have one?
Right Stuff
think-
had
Okay.
one.
The
Right
Right Stuff
Stuff had one.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Maybe The Godfather 3 did in theaters. Like I'm thinking at that time, like I said, I think the time I remember it changed, and I think there was somebody who brought this up besides me. So I think I'm not too wrong or too far off. The first time I remember where they got away with it and they kept going without doing it again would have been Lord of the Rings trilogy. Because after that, it seems like the idea of an intermission just went out the window, but yet movies were getting longer and longer and longer.
Yeah.
Especially
so-
with the theaters struggling. I mean, there's just a
Right.
ton of money making opportunity there. Like I know, like especially with the new kind of format they're using, where they actually, at least around here, they have a theater staff come into the theater to bring your food to you, right? Like you can order it without leaving your seat.
Yeah.
Give everyone 15 minutes. Now some people are going to go to the bathroom. You give everyone 15 minutes. That's 15 minutes to take new orders.
Yep.
And to watch
Well, and that's why
advertising on the screen while they're
And that's why
taking
the
their
theaters
orders.
liked it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I've said they turned around and they front load them now with the shit in the front. So they try to get you to get restless and go buy stuff in the beginning now because they can't do it in the middle of the movie. But I also think that Goddess is right. I was just remembering, I think Titanic had one.
Oh,
Remember
could be.
right.
Could be, yeah.
And I know Dances with Wolves did too, but that was way back early 90s. That's what I'm saying. During the 90s, it was still commonplace. Like Schindler's List and all that kind of stuff, yeah. But anyway, Jesus has a question here. Can they bring the intermissions back now? Well, we kind of said, they should. I think they could, but the studios won't let them because
No.
that's one that gets in the way of their showings, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, what they could do is move a bunch of that crap from the beginning into the middle of the movie. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Or like 2/3 of the way into the movie.
I mean,
And-
I'd love to learn more about how much power the theaters have in terms of their profit margins. I mean, is given how few,
not a
like-
lot.
Like it's like I said, Michael said that he's the only person seeing Furiosa today, and they get all the Disney movies. Like there's so many new movies coming out where there's one person in the theater. Now there's gonna be exceptions to that, but there's got to be other ways to utilize the theater that could at least give the theaters some kind of power. to,
Unfortunately,
you know,
CC, they don't. They're better now after the COVID shit because they kind of, because before that the theaters thought the studios thought they were going to kill the theaters, right? And the theaters are like, F you, we're going to be just fine. And then when we came out of COVID and the studios are like, yeah, we kind of still need the theaters. They're like, oh, isn't that interesting? Well, we want more. And now they get more than they did. But for a while there, they still have these contracts and other things that go on. That's the answer to part of your question is why they can't just move something out. Because I remember talking to specifically about Disney movies and Marvel movies and stuff to a theater owner once, and they're not happy with them. They don't like them because they force them in these contracts. They have to put their movies in like the biggest screens, regardless of how many people are in there.
yeah,
And like
that's
you're
part
just
of my
saying,
questions,
that
like,
screening for Furiosa probably cost that theater more money than they made off your uncle's one sale because they have to pay for the rental fee and shit like that too on top of it all, plus the electricity and and all that
when-
business.
Right.
Yeah.
if they're in contract for all of the movies, they can't be selective about it, right? And then if they wanted to show, say, the Phantom Menace, which did fairly well recently, instead of Furiosa, they would be penalized. I mean, maybe you don't know the answer to this offhand.
Kind of. Well, here, let me explain this to you because I'm glad you brought up Phantom Menace because that's a great example of this. Because back then, when Phantom Menace came out, George Lucas, a lot of theaters balked at him because of the way he wanted to do that. Like he stuck them with like a 15-week run. They had to take the movie for 15 weeks regardless. And their opening weekend, he got like, I think it was 75% of the box office. It ain't like that.
That's pretty
And
huge.
yeah, well, now Disney's done worse than that by now. See, that's the thing is I remember when people were griping about Disney doing that for Marvel and Star Wars movies, like George did that all the time back in the day. And I said, like, so right there, they're getting a stranglehold on the amount of money, plus, the amount of showings they want to get in. So they won't allow them to have things like intermissions anymore and stuff. And they're pretty rigid on how these movies are shown now, because before when they were on film, they didn't really have much control, right? Now they can't get away with anything. Like, they are rigid, they are set up, they have to be in certain theaters, that they can tell if it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing, if somebody's trying to muck with it or anything like that, because it's all technically hooked up online and stuff now for the digital cinemas. Because like I remember back in the day, for instance, a buddy of mine and I went to the theater to go see That Thing You Do, and we got there and we thought they had a late night showing, but turns out they only had an afternoon showing on a Sunday, and they're just closing things up when we showed up. And the lady's like, well, I got nothing going on. If you guys really want to watch it, I'll just run it again if you want. I hadn't taken it off the projector yet to send it back. And we're like, yeah, cool. So she ran it. Oh, they couldn't do something like that.
No.
Right, because if they tried to show like a movie like that, then that would send a signal to whatever company owns it, letting them know that there's an unauthorized viewing of the film going on and blah, 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 blah. So you have to pre-auth all this shit. It is a pain in the ass. And she talked about having to move the movies around and stuff. So they have it set up with like, and they set these things up months and months and months in advance. So it's not like the theaters even have any idea if these movies are going to tank, right? Like, they don't have anything to go by unless it's, well, of course I want the next Star Wars movie. Well, of course I want the next Marvel movie. Well, 6 months later, by the time everything's gone to hell, they don't have time to pull out of a contract like that. And Disney will force you to take shit, right? It's like, if you want this, you got to take this, this, and this, right? And that's how a lot of these contracts work. It's like, and it's like, if you want, the new Marvel movie, then you've got to take Inside Out 2 for 6 weeks,
right, in
your biggest theater. Then they'll pull that shit. But now the theaters are just like, fuck you and your Marvel. That's the beauty of it, is the less money. Yeah, it's not a bargain anymore, right? So yeah. So hopefully the theaters start pushing for things like this. It'd be nice if there's any people that are part of the NATO, the National Theater Owners Association, not the other one.
Do you think movie theaters with that kind of agency could actually survive in the market if they actually just said, I'm going to run the movies I want to watch, or only lease these movies for a particular time, and to hell with the big studios?
They're getting a lot more power back. That's kind of what I was getting to, is like after COVID, because they were renting theaters out and stuff. So and the studios are getting them a little bit more lenient with things, and they're giving them a little bit more money. See, because the way it works is opening weekend, the studios get the lion's share, and then every week after that, the theaters get the lion's share as it goes along. And that's why they're getting pissy about all this video on demand stuff, because it's eating into their profits, because that's where they're making the most profits, is in that second, third, fourth week when people are going to see Godzilla X Kong. Then if Warner Brothers drops it on video on demand, well, look what happened this last weekend. It dropped down out of the top 5, even though it was hanging in there in the top 5 the whole time, right? Dune is another great example. Now that it's out on disc, that's kind of fallen out of the top 10. So yeah. But no, I don't see why there's any reason you can't bring them back, Jesus. But what were you going to say, CC? I'm sorry.
I would just say, what I would be curious about is, like, there's so many great old movies, right? But they're owned by the same studios that are releasing new movies. So let's say, if a theater said, well, to heck with Disney, I don't want to play these new Disney movies, but I'd love to rerun The Lion King.
You have to have their permission.
Yeah. So will they then not be able to play the old movies from the same companies?
And in fact, Disney's one of the worst ones for allowing you to play older films. Yeah.
So I mean, if you try to get out of the new movie contracts that are doing awful for your business, but you'd love to play those old movies, but they're from the same companies. Now you can't play the old movies because they won't let you because you're not playing the new movies. That really.
Yeah, they got you kind of by the boo-boos when it comes to that, unfortunately. Mikey has donated 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Mikey. Appreciate that. I believe we're having a member stream this weekend at some point, maybe celebrating my birthday. Who knows? Tennille, aka Dislikes Puns, sends in 5 and says, that's true. Klobby made the journey to the U.S. on the Titanic 8 years later, which led him to discover his superpowers. Just as planned.
You know, that's the last time I get drunk and hang out with Tennille89. It's gonna go tell my secrets all the time. Just kidding.
Now you just gave away his secret identity almost.
Oh my goodness.
Close.
Tennille, you got it.
Connor Dorian, aka Charlie Manx, I think it is, sends in 5, says the animated movie Anastasia had an intermission at the Movico in Peabody Place. Yeah, I remember kids' movies always tended to. That was what I was going to say earlier, because I remember every Disney movie I went to had an intermission. Yeah. Jeremy Winfield sends in 2 and says, what are the rules for re-releasing films? Well, you can request a film at any time, and they can either grant you it or deny you. Otherwise, there's no rules. I mean, they can just re-release a movie anytime they want, pretty much, as long as they own it. The only rule would be is if they lose the ownership or control over the distribution of the film, and at which point it's up to the owner, distributor, then to allow you to have that. So basically, it's down to the copyright owner. Basically, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and then you have to have theaters willing to show it, even if you're like the owning party that has the movie. You have to find places that actually be willing to take time out of their schedules to show it. I would assume, unless it's like a big company like Disney or something.
Yeah. Now, I'm not going to say who, but I will say that there are theaters that are not part of bigger chains that have ways of watching things through digital projectors and they get around certain things like this, but it's not the same quality as if you're getting, unless they have like a 4K master of it and you got that all hooked up, then maybe. But you got to have a pretty damn good projector. But even though if they have the ability to hook it up to their regular projector too, I've heard of people doing that too. So that's what I'm saying. During COVID, it was crazy. Like I know guys who you could basically section out your whole whatever you want to watch. You bring it in, and you bring it in. That's how I think they got around it, because it was you privately rented it. You brought in whatever it was you guys were going to be watching with your private party and whatever. And at that moment on, that's what it was. But there's no outside public viewers coming in. So I think it was kind of a gray area. They were getting away with it. And I think you could still do it in some areas, but generally just smaller theaters, like none of the chains, I don't think allow this stuff anymore. So, or would allow this kind of a thing. But yeah.
Do private showings have a different standard then? Like if you're not actually having a public showing, but it's just like a private group? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. See, that's the thing. It's kind of a,
yeah.
And I think it has to be under a certain amount of people to be considered a private viewing as well. That's the other thing.
Right.
I don't have the number in front of me, because that's where Disney went after the daycare centers years ago. They were considering that public exhibition.
Right.
And since the daycare owners were making money from the kids, it was a whole convoluted fucking thing. And Disney should have just backed off. It just made them look bad. I mean, yes, technically they were in their right, but it's a freaking daycare center. To me, that's like when you go to the bar and you watch a game. You know what I mean? Like cable companies know this. They have this kind of unsaid thing where they just kind of, whatever. They've even gotten to the point where they've started using bars to bump up ratings on shit. I don't know, Mike, you might know something about this.
Don't they penalize bars that show screenings and take money from people or anything like that?
Depends. Like if you're talking about something that's like a pay-per-view screening of something, and a bar were to do that and try to advertise they have like the latest whatever fight on pay-per-view, technically they could, yes.
Well,
go ahead.
I've owned several bars, or used to, before I left California, and yeah, it's a different setup. But it's like if you're a small hole in the wall, they look the other way. But if you're like reasonable size,
right,
a special license.
Yeah, and then they work out pretty decent licenses, right, Mike? With a lot of these places, it's not like
no, you're not paying full retail for sure, because you have to carry every sports channel and all this other stuff. So it's a whole other package. It's like it's like getting the cheapest cable rate, but it's all sports. It's a whole other package.
And they've also utilized it, and this is what I was getting at, Mike. I don't know if you knew about this or you've talked about this before, where when ratings have gotten so bad in recent years, they've used bars to bump up the ratings.
Oh yeah.
They'll actually like do this thing where they'll like figure, there's X amount of people probably at this bar watching. We have X amount of bars.
Yep.
So they'll add that amount to the ratings to bump it up.
I've been told by many DJs at this point, because I was curious about it. Bars do pay license fees, right? So they pay a license even just to play music over their speakers.
Right.
of any kind, right? So that kind of like that's why like I say,
Yeah, see, when I DJ'd,
DJ's
that's
like,
how
well,
I-
how can a DJ get paid to play music, right? Well, you can get paid because the bar's already paid the license fee.
Yep,
That allows
exactly.
that music to be played, so
Yep.
that the DJ can then profit off of it.
Yep.
Well,
It's-
someone who toured in the U.S. for like 30 years, that practice doesn't exist in the U.S. I can tell you that.
I was
mean,
going to say it's kind of
I played some of the largest nightclubs on the West Coast, and that, we're always spinning whatever we wanted to on any given day.
right. Well, there's like this. It's basically kind of like they don't bust you because they're already paying through the jukebox company usually.
And the other thing, I think what you're talking about, CC, is that the bars typically have a music license to play music in general. So when the DJ rolls in, he can play whatever the hell.
That's
he
what I'm
wants.
saying. Exactly. Yes.
It's a totally, but even so, like they could be playing Peaches and Herb from the 70s in the daytime. The DJ rolls in and the club turns into techno at night, and no one gives a fuck.
Exactly. Now there are some organizations, and depending on where you're playing, see, because I've run into issues where I didn't follow that because I wasn't a quote unquote licensed DJ, because that's what I normally did was bars and gigs that they had that license that you guys are talking about. But like if you're going to certain venues, now a lot of places that host like weddings and shit have got them too, but there are places that don't. So there are, I mean, I've went to certain weddings and venues and places that don't have those, where the DJs are kind of stuck on certain things. It depends on who owns the company. Like if it's a radio station that owns a company, I've talked to those guys. They're only allowed certain things because that's the shit they pay for, right? Because I kind of saved this guy's ass this is a long convoluted story, but I'll keep it really brief. It was at my cousin's wedding. He was drunk as shit. He was pissed because they couldn't play Cotton Eye Joe or some shit like that. I can't remember what the fuck it was. He was just raging, and he was going to throw the motherfucker out because he's like, he didn't understand. And I tried explaining it to him, and I bumped up to the DJ and I said, look, I'm a DJ myself. I've got the fucking thing in my car. If I bring in the CD, do you think we can get away with it? He's like, yeah, obviously. He's like, I just don't have it. Right. They don't allow us to, he goes, they give us and I explained it to my cousin too. So I said, I'll get it played for you. I said, this is the way it works. They're only allowed a certain playlist because that's what they pay for. It's probably a license they pay out through a certain company. So if it's not a song that's in their list by that company, then they don't have it. Right. It's just the way it works. Right. And my cousin was just too drunk to fucking comprehend that shit, but I got it worked out. But like, it was just one of those stupid fucking things, like, it is technically a law, but like, unless you're in a big venue, like Mike said, and even then, a lot of times, I don't even remember a case where anybody's been busted by like, ASCAP or anybody like that coming in and saying, well, you're not paying your music fees and you need to pay, you know what I mean? So like, yeah.
It's got to be worth the while. I mean, if it's
I went to school for it, Jeremy, so that's part of it.
Stadium size kind of venue, they're probably more likely to pay attention.
Exactly.
Small.
Well, that's the same thing. Even the big stadiums, they have to pay the rights for those songs that they play over the PAs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it's public.
How do karaoke licenses work? Since we're off topic,
similar.
CC, how do those work?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know about Canada, but yeah, it's very similar in the US. But yeah.
CC,
I
how
think
does
you're right. It's a
karaoke
country by
license
country
work,
basis to a certain degree. I don't know every country on earth.
Oh.
I know bars are covered under the same thing we were just talking about.
One thing I will say is, fun fact, I guess, the music has one license, the lyrics have a separate license.
What?
Yeah,
that's also a good point. I didn't know that.
So any display of the lyrics,
it is true, I guess,
requires
what?
A whole separate fee. Yeah, you can pay for the music, but you're not actually paying for the words.
Yeah, I remember that there was my school when I was like a kid. They decided to put on a performance of Grease. That was our music teachers getting really excited. We're going to do Grease this year. We're going to do Grease, and then they had to cancel because they couldn't afford the rights. And I didn't understand. What that meant at the time because I was a little kid. But I thought, geez, that's I can't even put on a school play. That seems kind of stupid.
Yeah, I remember that in high school too. All the girls wanted to do. I think it was Phantom of the Opera. And they're like, oh hell no, costs way too much.
The Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, the Lloyd Webber one. Yeah, exactly. And then we got another 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Rick Sierra. Sorry. if I
Tom, those
misread.
gifted memberships from Rick Carrera are from a known Mexican Iron Man terrorist, Mr. Rick Carrera. He is one of those fake news YouTube terrorists. Yeah, so we'll take his memberships, but we got to watch that guy. All right, he's gonna watch that guy.
Did he just rickroll us? Sorry.
Oh, all right. We got a couple more stories I wanted to talk about here besides the whole
That's a good one.
George Miller Mad Max shit. Richard Dreyfuss.
Uh-oh.
Do we know what he said? I've seen like 4 articles on this, but they will not quote him
I
on
just
what he
know
said.
that
I've seen some places that quoted him. I think
I did see the quotes, but I want the video. I want the actual fucking video.
I wish there was video. Yeah.
Yeah, what video?
I just know that he's a bigot. No?
Based on what I read, he just made some very kind of normal person comments, and I think
ish. The comments are fine. The comments are fine. We'll get into here what the problem is. Richard Dreyfuss slammed for alleged sexist and homophobic comments at Jaws screening. So it's a Tuesday for any white male. Massachusetts theater that hosted the actor has apologized for his remarks. He hasn't apologized. Let's be clear.
And he won't.
The theater did. They said, we deeply regret the distress that this has caused many of our patrons.
I've been triggered.
Okay, so what the hell happened here? I mean, did Richard come out and call him a No. But, anyway, Massachusetts theater is apologizing to its patrons who came to attend a screening of Jaws that would with the star Richard Dreyfuss, but instead were subjected to alleged sexist and homophobic comments from the actor over Memorial Day weekend. Attendees, this is just so I feel like I need dramatic music for this. Holy shit. Because they were attacked. Ah! Their senses were assaulted. Woo! And we wonder why comedy sucks now. Anyway, attendees who were there for what was billed as an evening with Richard Dreyfuss plus a Jaws screening were likely anticipating some amusing or insightful anecdotes from the actor about filming the classic Steven Spielberg blockbuster. Let me tell you something, kids. Richard Dreyfuss is old. He has told just about every fucking Jaws story he can tell 4,000 fucking times.
Yep.
I guarantee you the last thing he wants to do is answer the same fucking questions over and over again. As much as I would love to ask this man about Jaws, I don't know if there's any more questions he could answer that I don't have already out there on some form of a video or anything like that. So I really probably would do my best not to, or try to find a question that nobody's asked. Right. But anyway, nobody even started asking any questions. I'm just trying to put you in the mindset of where this man probably is at this point in his life. He is at that point where he does not give a fuck. Okay.
Yep.
That's the thing with men. And Klobby, you might know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We reach a certain point, certain things, the more we get older, the less we give a fuck about.
Boy, howdy. Yep.
So anyway.
Yes, sir.
Instead, the Oscar winner went on freeform rant that, according to social media posts from those who attended, notice no video. You know, every one of these motherfuckers has got a phone probably.
Yeah.
No video. According to social media posts,
there's no video.
Yeah, I know. That's what has me bothered. Is like, to me, it feels like people don't want the truth out there. It's really not as bad as they're making it out. Began while he was speaking about Barbra Streisand and moved into his bigoted perspective on trans youth.
Oh my God.
The Academy Awards inclusion rules, and then on to trans kids affirming their gender.
Oh my God.
The following event, attendees quickly took to social media to criticize the actor's remarks, with some saying they even walked out during the event. One attendee, an ex-former known as Twitter user named Rogue Mama, wrote, "Came here to see if Richard Dreyfuss had been canceled tonight after appearing at the Cabot in Beverly." Another suggested an alternative tonight for the night's event, an evening of misogyny. And so this bitch went in to see if he was already. Wow.
Yeah.
And you
So a
wonder
couple of
why
people
I don't
walked out,
believe
one
any
of
of this
them-
bullshit.
couple of Twitter warriors, and one of them named Rogue Mama walked out.
Wow.
And that's something that
She went in to see if he had been canceled.
Oh no, not Rogue Mama, not her.
Yeah, right. One person wrote in the comments section of a venue's latest Facebook post, "We walked out of this interview tonight along with hundreds of other because of his racist, homophobic, misogynistic rant." Another person called Dreyfuss comments disgusting and offensive. I wonder if hundreds of them actually walked out.
Yeah, they were
If
disgusting.
I wanna
hundreds of
see the
people walked
video.
out, there would be video.
Disgusting.
Okay, so in a brief
They would
video,
love to release that video.
Uh-oh.
Come on.
okay, we got a post of it. Okay, here it is. We actually have video, kids.
All
Oh my
right.
This
gosh.
part.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. I'm ready to be shocked.
I'm ready to be
Yeah.
disgusted.
My
So he
feelings
came
are
out
ready to be
with that.
shattered.
Bigot.
Oh,
All right,
here we
let's-
go.
This is
This
what
awful
set the whole thing off.
monstrosity. Let's
Is
see
he
that.
came out in a dress.
Oh yeah. That's
That's
homophobic.
great.
That's disgusting.
So what's the problem?
They're
Crowd's
cheering.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I don't hear any
Laughing.
boos.
No, they're laughing. What the hell?
Oh.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Poor guy.
How disgusting. For some reason.
I don't hear any boos and shit.
Oh, he hasn't said the bad stuff yet.
Those
Taylor
are,
Swift music play. I'll probably get
those
nailed for
are,
that.
No,
Yeah.
those are whistles of disgust.
Sorry, I'm
That's
trying
pretty
not to get
disgusting.
nailed with the Taylor Swift one.
Yeah. Let's all talk over it, guys. Just mute it till he starts talking.
I don't even know if it has him talking at all.
Taylor Swift, she said.
At this point, he's already done what should offend
Looks like
the
he just
people
got
in
out of the
question.
hospital considering his hands there.
Oh yeah, I got like a infusion or something.
Yeah.
Even
Or
more
something.
disgusting. He's gonna put on a coat. Oh my god.
Oh no.
People who put on coats are bigots.
It's white.
White bigot
It's a
coat.
white jacket.
At least it's not after Labor Day.
That woman's like, what is she? She doesn't look like she's even there.
So when do we get we don't get the controversy?
No, I guess not.
Regardless of what he said after, the dress joke should have been.
Okay, so where's the
enough to
rest of the
offend those
video,
people.
Must
motherfuckers?
have been the dress joke.
Well, that, yeah, you come out in a dress.
What, you can't build a Monty Python these
That
days?
was obvious enough. People are still cheering him the whole time.
Yeah, wow, unless they were just horrified.
Okay, we got the end of the concert here, but not the
But I
whole.
thought they liked drag shows there. I don't understand
Yeah, I'm
it.
at a loss for that. Where's my bigot? I was promised bigotry, and I'm not getting it. I'm
No.
protesting the show.
Okay, all right,
now.
here's the end of it. We
Yeah.
got the last
Oh.
5
I need
minutes
some
anyway.
bigotry, damn it.
Okay.
God.
I don't know how much we're going to see in the last
Was he
5
making-
minutes of it.
Was you making fun of drag queens or something?
And I think there's nothing there.
Thank you, Richard. Okay.
No, that's horrible.
Still sounds pretty full to me.
Wow, that's very harmful.
I think I what he says.
Who is this? Say
He
it.
says the dreyfussinitiative.org. That is something that's as important to Richard as his films he's made. So look it up, check it out. Richard, why don't you tell them the name of your new book and what the mission statement is, what the purpose of the book is.
The book is called One Thought Scares Me. And it's about the fact that 50 years ago, without telling anybody, they took civics out of
This is
the
it.
curriculum of all public schools in America, which means we have no knowledge of who the hell we are.
Okay, so what he said, guys, if you couldn't understand it, he
You know,
said,
closed captions?
I don't think it doesn't have any, no.
Okay, go ahead.
I can try. No, it doesn't let me click on it. And this is the quote that was in the thing. He said, the name of my book is One Thing Scares Me or something like that.
Yeah, one thought scares me. Thing,
One
yeah.
thought scares me. That's it. And he said the biggest problem is that 50 years ago we took civics
Out of school.
out of the
curriculum.
classrooms.
That's
Yeah,
a great
yeah.
comment.
Which is true. He's
Now this is what they're tying to him supposedly being anti-trans and shit. But he goes on, I guess, for a little bit longer here. So let's see.
Let's go.
And if we don't get it back soon,
If we don't get it back soon,
we'll die.
we're all gonna die.
We were talking about this earlier.
That's probably true. Yeah.
Make sure that your kids are not the last generation of Americans.
To make sure that our kids are not the last generation of Americans. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
And you're cheering him on.
So it's probably someone on Twitter who got mad and not someone actually at the event.
Sale in the lobby, I believe, that's where they put in, along with some wonderful keychains of aliens and things like that. So the lobby's been some hard.
You go see.
So,
I don't see what's so controversial about that.
so between the dress and endorsing civics lessons in schools again, that's what destroyed so many fragile egos.
10-minute intermission.
Intermission.
Nothing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's it. Fuck them. They are trying. Oh, fuck you, motherfuckers. And every goddamn media outlet out there running this fucking story. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. You ought to be fucking ashamed of yourselves. The video is right fucking there.
They have no spine to care, Tom. We
That's
know
all?
that.
Wow.
That's what they're
all.
going after.
Yep.
He didn't say anything. There was nothing.
He didn't say a fucking thing. They're going
I
after
thought-
him because he was
Smart,
on.
actually. If
He was on the
anything.
cabinet or whatever. That's what they're going after him for. Because that's what I see here is this fucking thing goes on and on and on, and it's about all the shit that he said on the cabinet regarding the film's Academy inclusion rules. That's what it's all about. Because he said, and I quote, and this is from back in May of 2023, so a fucking year ago, they make me vomit. Remember, we talked about this. No one should be telling me as an artist I have to give in to the latest, most current idea of what morality is. What are we risking? What are we really risking? Hurting people's feelings? You can't legislate that. You have to let life be life. And I'm sorry. I don't think there is a minority or a majority in the country that has to be catered to like that. This is what this is about.
Yep. He said
Then he
that
goes
last
on to
year.
say, this is an art form. It's also a form of commerce and it makes money, but it's an art. And no one should be telling me as an artist that I have to give in to the latest, most current idea of what morality is. Thank you, Mr. Dreyfuss.
Yeah.
The audience cheered him. And as they should. And I think the real life audience is probably
and
cheering him
fuck,
still for that.
Fuck Ben Dreyfuss's kid, too. This is why I won't give my father his own fucking password to his Twitter account.
So I've got a secondhand quote. I got a secondhand quote from somebody that was at the theater.
I don't buy it. Unless
I don't buy it either because it's a secondhand quote. So someone at the theater, this is what an attendee said he said. Now, if there was some footage, now between the two videos you had available, if there's something that happened in between, don't know. But this is what she said. He said, quote, and again, this is quoting the lady, not quoting Richard Dreyfuss. He said that the parents of trans youth allowing them to transition was bad parenting and that someday these kids might change their minds, unquote. How controversial.
Just true is all.
Well,
and aside from that, yeah, they got the video about the walking on stage with the dress. He said something about Barbra Streisand being nuts. There has to be something else. Yeah, I know. There's some other video.
Yeah, it ends in fucking Y, right? Like,
yeah.
I was
Uh,
promised that if I showed up on the show, I'd get some bigotry, and I'm not getting any bigotry. What's happening here?
I know, right, Mike? I'm disappointed. And I'm more disappointed that the
You white
world is
people
allowing this
just
to happen.
huge disappointment with your bigotry.
The legacy media would have you believe that the entire audience turned on him in the middle of the show when he may have
Yeah.
said those
Yeah.
things.
Everybody's
and everyone was
clapping for him.
booing
I want to see the fucking
vehemently
proof.
the whole time.
I want to see people walking out because I've got everything they've written about so far, and I don't see a goddamn thing wrong with what he fucking did.
I just want to note that Tom.
Barbara Streisand is nuts, and that surgery is messed up. Okay, so what's the issue?
Tom,
Anyway,
Tom,
you're saying, Mike.
Tom, in 15 minutes of research, has proven all these morons, idiots in the mainstream media wrong.
I didn't even have to do the research. They have the link in their own fucking article. And then I just looked at the rest of the guy's videos, and it's the last video. And none of the other videos are related to that. I guess I could go back and look and see if there's more, but I didn't see any more. This is bullshit. I'm sorry. Like, I between what they did, trying to do to Bill Murray and this shit now, fuck you people. Fuck every motherfucker in the world trying to do this shit to him.
Yep.
No, that's only two videos this guy has on there. Paulie Flicks is who has it. So props to him, credit to him, whatever. His channel blew up as far as these views go, so you got lucky there, buddy. He stuck through the whole thing. And I don't think he is any of the... No, we know exactly where this is coming from. This is coming from that feminist bitch from the first post who fucking went in expecting him to be canceled, and she was pissed that it didn't get canceled. That's what this is about.
They'll take 2 or 3 people out of the audience of hundreds who disagree, and they'll write the article to tell the public this is not this the entire audience was vehemently against this. But they've done it so many times for so many years now that people don't believe them anymore. It's not effective like it might have been for a short while 8 or 10 years ago. People are catching on to the game. It's like, is anybody really gonna be swayed by this argument?
Yeah, I'm having 2014, 2015 flashbacks to the whole like cancel a speaker at a college kind of stuff because they might say something that you don't like and all that other nonsense.
Echo chamber. Yeah, I keep telling you, these people, they live in a bubble. They can deny it all they want. They live in a bubble.
You guys are really bad at this racism thing.
Yep. We had a lot of practice.
I don't know, man. So, I mean, it's just nowadays it seems like white leftism is the actual virus of the world.
Will it help if I do this every few minutes, Mike?
Do you want a tamale for every time we say something? Yes.
Oh my god.
Okay. Ooh, that's
Is that like a swear jar or something? You say
every time Mike wants to talk, I just start playing this. Every time Mike starts talking from now on, I'll just start playing this. Is that racist enough yet?
No, actually, that's quite heartwarming. Actually, so no.
Oh, you fail, Tom. You fail at racism.
Yet again, white people fail at racism.
Speaking of people failing, that's actually a pretty good segue into our next story. But I want to thank Marks first of all for being a member for 37 months.
Ooh.
Thank you very much. That's just over 3 years, man. Thank you.
Damn.
So yeah, we got one last story I wanted to cover here. Tim Burton spoke out about Flash and Batman. So this might perk. I knew it would perk you up.
Ooh.
Just curious.
So Tim Burton reflects on his canceled Superman movie and the impact it had on him, stating that working on the project for so long and seeing it fall through affects your life. Burton expresses discontent with studio misappropriating characters and the freedom they have to do so, indicating a sense of revolt in his later years. While Burton seems to be critical of the use of CGI recreations in The Flash, other filmmakers like Kevin Smith have praised the movie's homage. Well, that should be...
Oh, well, what a shock. Of course.
It's not a mark in its favor.
Spineless Kevin Smith praised another terrible comic movie. What a shock.
Okay, so when asked about the Cage Superman Lives movie, he goes, "No, I don't have any regrets. I will say this. When you work that long on a project and it doesn't happen, it affects you for the rest of your life because you get passionate about things. And each thing is an unknown journey. And it wasn't there yet. but it's one of those experiences that never leaves you a little bit. But also it goes into another AI thing. And this is why I think I'm over it with the studio. They can take what they did, or what you did, sorry, Batman or whatever, and culturally misappropriate it, or whatever you want to call it.
Culture.
Even though you're slave of Disney or Warner Brothers, they can do whatever they want. So in my latter years of my life, I'm in quiet revolt against all of this.
Best kind of revolt for him to be into.
Actually, this is an old article. I don't know why it just popped up in my stream now. But, oh well. We didn't cover it then. We're covering it now. He's got Beetlejuice coming out, and he's working for the fucking studio again.
Yeah. Imagine that. Way to revolt, dude.
Way to revolt.
Man. That's wow.
Yeah.
You're so rebellious.
Yeah, that trailer, and I know you guys probably already talked about this on a previous show. That trailer had way too many member berries for me not to think. It's just not sure about that one.
And who kind of agreed with you, Scribe. Like, a lot of people are kind of into it, and some of the people on this panel I know did.
I thought it was okay.
That's what I mean. But I'm kind of with you, Scribe, but there's something about it that I'm just like, no, I feel like this should be just left alone.
Yeah.
Overall, oh God, well, yeah, even if it were to be good, it comes back to the argument that I use a lot. It's something that we didn't need at all. It's like, yeah, I'll give it credit if it's good, but it's something we didn't need because, once again, Beetlejuice is one of those movies that it had a story, it told its story, didn't leave any threads hanging. It felt wrapped up in a nice tight bow.
I'm getting sick of reheated nostalgia. I really am. I mean, just
dude, this isn't reheated. This is microwave nostalgia.
That's what I mean.
Don't give the oven. Don't give credit to the oven.
I don't know.
He's got a point because I hate the microwave.
Dude,
it does not cook food, man. It just
there's a difference.
It does some weird nuclear shit to your food.
Oh, dude, we're at the microwave stage, and we're at the stage where it's sitting there because we're afraid and living in shame because we knew we just reduced ourselves to microwave it instead of just sticking it out for the oven.
I get a lot of shit because I hate using my microwave. Go ahead. Sorry,
with the member berries in the trailer, right? It's like there was no new creations in it, and I noticed that.
That's what I said too.
I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, they were good in the first movie. They were good original art design and creatures and all that. But I mean, Tim Burton did create some really cool imagery in his earlier days.
A lot of that's Bo Welch, but yeah.
Okay, well, fair.
That'd be his designer, but yeah.
Well, then get the guy back if you could.
I don't know if he's working on this new one or not. That's a good question.
But I mean, it's like with the trailer, it was like everything in the trailer was old designs.
Or did Bo Welch work with him on Beetlejuice? I'm trying to remember.
Anything like there's no new creativity in it. And
well, it's the same town, same characters, same holding. You know, if you really wanted to, they could have taken the character and had him like show up somewhere else with a different situation rather than just like, oh, here we go again. But either then, I'm getting tired of seeing spin-offs and reboots and blah, blah, blah. And I know people have talked about this before, but it's really becoming ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's my thing is Beetlejuice was pure. Leave it alone.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't get a sequel made for years. There should be a certain threshold where you just cut it off. And that's kind of what I said at the show. I said, the sad part is, and I know it sounds weird saying this, but maybe it makes sense if you think about it. We are as far from when the original Beetlejuice came out now to the sequel as we were from basically when the original Fly came out with Vincent Price as to when Cronenberg did his remake. Mm-hmm. Now imagine if the studio instead had said, no, we want a sequel with Vincent Price. Instead of allowing somebody else to come in and remake it. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying Beetlejuice should be remade. No. In fact, the opposite. I think it still holds up. See, there's the difference. At that point, the 50s to the 80s, technology had advanced so much that redoing The Fly that way made sense. Redoing The Thing that way made sense. Redoing Kong in 76 even kind of made sense. Doing Beetlejuice now or a remake of Beetlejuice just doesn't make any sense because the original movie still holds up. It's still there. It's still watchable. Kids can still enjoy it. I don't know anybody who hasn't seen it for the most part that doesn't enjoy it unless it's just not their thing. I mean, I get it. Sometimes it's a little too on the grotesque side. Mikey's somebody who didn't care for it. But yeah, that's the other thing I point out that ActionCom does here with $2 is that Tim Burton directed a live action Dumbo. That's the thing. Tim Burton has not done an original film since Big Fish.
Yeah, that's true.
Everything he has done has been either a remake or a sequel or a reboot.
In a minute, we were just talking earlier about re-releasing. It's like, why bother making a Beetlejuice reboot, remaster, re-release the original into theaters? You save a whole ton of money, make a whole ton of money. If you want people to live off of nostalgia, just give them the original and not some redone slapdash, cash-in nonsense. I don't understand why I understand. Well, actually, at one point, I guess I could have understood. It's like, it's a cash-in. Like, are these things really making their money back at this point? I mean, how many of these things have come out that have completely bombed? Like, what is the calculus at this point? Like early on, like 5, 6, 7 years ago or something, like, okay, maybe
without
still sort of squeeze
basically
it out.
Star Wars, The Force Awakens,
Yeah,
Top Gun 2,
sure.
Cobra Kai.
Okay.
Those are about the successful ones you could point to right now.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
sure.
think of any more. And even The Force Awakens, there's that asterisk next to it, right? Like, yeah, that one was the most successful because it's the biggest movie of all time now.
And nobody knew ahead of time it would be an absolute stinker.
Exactly. Now look at how
yeah.
bad The Last Jedi and the Palpatine one, fell off.
Indiana Jones Indiana Jones falls off a cliff. Yeah.
As far as these sequel thingies, no, I can't think, unless you guys can come up with one in the chat or in the panel here. I can't think of another one besides those 3 franchises that I would say had a successful relaunch, regardless of if it landed or not afterwards. Is, I guess, you're up to your discretion. Box office,
Yeah.
but
So I don't understand how they keep justifying these to themselves. Now, Grant, I don't know what Beetlejuice 2's budget is. Maybe they found it fairly moderate or something. But
let me look if it's up yet.
Tim Burton usually isn't modest with budgets.
That's true. But I saw some stop motion stuff in the trailer, so maybe he kept some things fairly low rent.
Some of it actually looked kind of chintzy, like the thing with Michael Keaton's face trying to make him look like the mask with the eyes and the tongue. That looked kind of bad.
I'll take that. I don't know,
but I would take that over CGI. Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can find chintzy in it because it's Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I can get past that. I don't. They still don't have a budget up for this one.
It's a small set piece too, right? Like, it's a house. It's a small town, but I mean, I'm also just.
They might have done it for under 100.
Everyone wants to take their cut. The actors and actresses getting paid a ton. I mean,
yeah. I mean, if Burton was trying to make it
at best.
Yeah, if Burton was trying to make it fit in with the aesthetics of the original, he might have just gone to throwback, practical and low budget stuff to make the effects to make them fit in, which that'd be fine too. I wouldn't mind that.
I guess you could throw Super Mario Brothers in that mix, Corley and Rogue, although I guess is that how you would? I wouldn't say it's an up, although it does have a lot of similarities with it. I wouldn't say it's an update of the 1990s film. It's just a new version of the video game, so it's coming from another source. But I get what you're saying. I will allow it.
Oh, well.
Warrior Justice says the Majuice, Kevin Smith. Themajuice. And then we got Goddess of Women says, I might see Beetlejuice 2, but I'm happy with the animated series being the sequel. Yeah,
there you go.
To me, the series is kind of on its own because Beetlejuice isn't the villain in the series, and it doesn't go along with the movie exactly, but it works as
it's
one of the better. It was one of the better series of TV or movies turned to a animated series. I fucked up Warrior Justice's thing. It goes, how does non-binary unalive them people they them? And then I think this was the
okay.
The punchline, them a juice. Sorry about that, Warrior Justice. Starting to get a little low here on my sugar. Connor Dorian says Halloween 2018 made 259 million worldwide. Yeah, well, that's true. Good one. Good point, Connor.
Fair enough.
But that was just the first movie. It fell off a cliff. That's a Force Awakens situation there. That's exactly why that happened too. And it was an anomaly. I remember when that came out and it did that well. I couldn't even fucking believe it. I was like, what the fuck? I would have expected maybe 70, 75, 80 million. If this movie makes 100 million, damn. 259 million. That's more than the entire franchise, not counting inflation, had made up to that point put together.
Surprise.
You know, people were looking. It seemed they marketed it as sort of a going back to the
H2O2,
roots.
yeah, that's the problem.
Going back to the roots of the franchise, going back to sequel to the first one or whatever they were saying, and it appealed to people. I bought into it too, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I actually like the second one of all the three, but I know that's the most batshit dumb crazy one besides the third. The third one was just a fucking atrocious mess. The first one, for the most part, I can handle. There's just some stupid shit. But my biggest problem was, why wasn't it just a sequel to H2O?
Jesus.
It's
Like,
really
it
weird
should have been
that they did it-
H40, really.
Right. I mean, it's weird that they rebooted it once and then rebooted it again.
And that was what I said going into the movie. I'm like, sorry, Scry, I just want to say, the only reason I was upset about it coming out was like, the movie wasn't that bad, but I'm like, it had one thing to do. It could have done two things in this case now. I said, because instead of it being giving me a reason why it shouldn't have been H2O2, and the other reason was, why didn't they just make it to where there is no connection between the Strodes and Myers? Because even though they take away the sister-brother element in this movie, for what? It doesn't matter. They're still connected by the end of the film, like they are. So it's like, okay, so you're trying to do it without doing it. It's so stupid, but whatever. Because that was the other thing, is they erased Halloween 2. That probably pissed me off more than anything.
That they're no
like, what
longer the brother and
fuck?
sister anymore.
Yeah, and I didn't. Not that I'm happy with that, but I'm like, okay, if you're gonna, that was the one time I'm like, because I was actually rooting for the movie ahead of time. I'm like, I can see this if this is what they're gonna do. Take away the brother sister element, and then you have it to where Michael Myers doesn't give a shit about anybody. He's just after babysitters, and they had the scene kind of sort of there, but they didn't follow through with it. Because basically, all you had to have it be is like, you know, Laurie come up and say, "Here I am, Michael," and he just keeps fucking walking like, "Fuck you, bitch. Who the fuck are you?" Like. Because that's at that moment she realizes, oh shit, he don't give a shit about me. I've wasted my whole life caring about this motherfucker. He wasn't coming after me. And then she becomes suddenly the Loomis role, right? So you put her in the Loomis role. That would make sense. And then you have it set up to where all Michael Myers does is go after fucking babysitters. That's the whole point. That was the original point. And now you've taken it back to its roots. They didn't do that though. They kind of did it, half-assed it, and then they kill him in the end with his not sister. That's the only real difference we've accomplished here, besides what we got in H2O and Resurrection, is they died together. Anyway, that was a long diatribe I didn't expect to go on. But yes. Warrior Justice also says Halloween H2O, Too Sweet Home Alabama. Yeah. Warrior of Justice says they slashed them. Tom, thanks for ruining my joke. I am so sorry, man. I should have. I'm reading them backwards. That's my fault.
No,
I am running out of gas. I'm running out of gasoline.
I don't know what you're talking about not having enough sugar, because you don't even eat that anymore.
I eat it too much, man.
No, not anymore. We had a conversation.
Does
you lie to me, for God's sake?
Well, does corn syrup count?
You don't need sugar. You're sweet enough.
I will confess this much. Well, it's in soda. I have had a couple sodas. I'm not gonna lie.
Donuts.
And I will not lie that I did have a couple Twinkies.
Why?
How big was the
So
Twinkie?
I'm weak.
Because they taste good. That's why.
Actually,
You know what? How
Twinkies
about
are
next
smaller than they used to be.
Midnight Heads After Dark diabetes party.
And the proof is in UHF. Here's the best part. The proof is in UHF that Twinkies used to be almost twice the size what they are
We
now.
got it all.
Because when he makes a Twinkie wiener sandwich, you can't make a Twinkie wiener sandwich now. Motherfucker wouldn't even be big enough.
You can have a
Remember when
mead insulin rave or something.
Remember when he cuts it open and puts the hot dog in it? It's like the size of a fucking hot dog bun. That's what I remember as a kid, was you grabbing a Twinkie and that motherfucker being the size of a goddamn hot dog bun. Now you get them in there like little fucking ding dongs. It's bullshit. They do suck now.
Do they even taste the same now?
Both, Cartoon Man, both. Yes-ish for the most part. They just got it's more preservatives and corn syrup.
I'm
and
very.
crap
You know
in
what?
it.
You keep talking. I'm gonna have a rant. I'm gonna explode.
I
on
know you will. I'm so sorry, Mike.
We're sitting here on Midnight Sage After Dark on a Tuesday talking about you eating.
I'll
Twinkies.
remind you that you're having a meetup.
I'm gonna lose my fucking goddamn fucking
Twinkie
mind.
Tuesday. Twinkie Tuesday.
I'm gonna lose my fucking goddamn fucking mind right now.
You're just mad because you didn't have a Twinkie.
No, I don't eat that garbage. We discussed this. You know I don't. Used to.
All right.
Used to eat a shitload of it. I used to go and buy them like. Have you ever seen the double box sets that they have at Walmart, where you can get like basically it's not a case of Twinkies, it's like 48 pack.
Oh God.
I might or might not have bought that today.
I'm gonna fucking kill you. I am going to fucking
Not if the
kill you.
Twinkies do first.
I'm gonna fucking kill you.
No, it wasn't that big. Jesus Christ.
Cut us some slack, Jack.
No, Mikey's right. I deserve it, and I'm glad that I got people like Mikey and Andre and others who try to keep me on course.
No, I got you.
I had to navigate the healthcare system this morning, and you know what I told the guy on the other end of the phone?
Oh, that's why you
Uh-oh.
ate like shit, because you were feeling successful because you had to navigate the healthcare system. So you
I did, and I said to him, I said,
you convinced yourself you deserved a treat.
I did, because I told the guy after about 45 minutes, because I said, you know what's funny is it took me longer to make this appointment than my actual appointment will be. I think you should watch South Park if you're a fan. The latest South Park special is about navigating the healthcare system, and he chuckles on the other end, and I'm like, yeah, motherfucker.
Well,
It's like, I will have to do that.
I'm not laughing. Do I look like I'm laughing? Oh wait, I don't have my
Yes.
camera.
You're a static
but it's
avatar. You don't
true.
look like anything.
And Warrior Justice asks the very important question for $2. Are we talking about the food, Tom, or the gay fairy? Well, if I say the latter, then will that make you happier, Mike? Since there's no sugar involved, just a sugar daddy.
Ooh.
No, that makes me want to puke.
Well, then be glad it's a regular Twinkie.
Fine. I'm gonna tell Polly on you.
Don't you dare.
No.
And don't you dare tell Andre either.
Oh, watch me. Are you kidding? This is.
I'll tell him what
Sorry.
you told me about the thing that makes you a YouTuber.
What?
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
The thing I reminded you of last
I
week.
don't
that
know
you're
what
like,
you're
oh
talking
shit.
about.
I don't remember telling you
La
that.
la la la.
Exactly. He knows what
Oh
I'm
my
fucking
God,
talking about.
Oh my God! It's 9:00. Time to end the show. Oh wow!
It is.
Oh, what?
Connor Dorian sends in another 5. Thank you for that, by the way, Connor. This Blumhouse wants to reboot My Bloody Valentine again. This would be like,
Again.
yeah.
They just did that, didn't they, a few years ago?
Well, yeah, it'd be like. Of course, we got
Remake?
how many do we have of the Christmas one now? Too of the same one, Black Christmas or whatever. Don't we have like 3 of those?
There's like 3 Black Christmases, yeah, and then
I think
My Bloody
so.
Valentine's got 2. And wait, there's actually isn't there 3? Like there was a sequel originally, and then they rebooted it.
I'm not sure on that, but yeah, there's at least one reboot already. At least one.
La la la.
Any slasher
I don't-
franchises that have been rebooted yet?
Oh, I'm sure a few. I mean, we're getting to the bottom of the barrel though. Like My Bloody Valentine is decent, but it's not great.
There's one coming out
It's
soon.
like-
It's like I forget what it's called, like a violent nature or something, and it's told from the perspective of the Jason type slasher character.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, I saw a little clip or a segment.
Isn't
of
that
it
what that
today.
Leslie Vernon movie was?
Well, that's what I was
Well,
thinking. Is this? It's like we've already
yeah.
done this with the Leslie for Behind the Mask, the Leslie Vernon thing, but now this is like not a character that's talking to the camera. This is like your zombie Jason character. And I saw a clip from the movie earlier today on Twitter, and he's carrying around. He's got a body he's dragging in one hand, and he's got the top half of a head in the other. And the top half of the head is so fake looking. And even though I know this might be a throwback to some kind of 70s thing or something, it just looked so bad. It was so bad. The eyeballs were like painted on the head. It was just terrible.
I actually want to see a Jason movie from the perspective of Jason.
Oh, this is it then. This will be your movie.
Oh, from the actual Jason.
Here
Because I'm sure the way he's hearing things is like, they're actually saying,
Hey, Bobby, want to go have some premarital sex and smoke some weed?
and what Jason's hearing is,
Hey, Bobby, want to go have some premarital sex and smoke some weed, and maybe we'll ignore some kids and they'll drown in the lake again?
Exactly. He's filling in the blanks.
Do you remember that time that they chopped that one chick's head off?
That's what he hears. I guarantee it because he's just sitting there seething. Do you ever watch, especially when he's Kane Hodder? He just
Yeah.
seethes.
Oh man, Kane Hodder was great.
It's like he has one thing he does: seethe.
Yeah.
That's Kane Hodder doing Jason's voice. Anyway, I love that shit. D Bud Martin sends in 5 and says, Tom, how did you get such a big time YouTuber like Mexican Iron Man to be on your show? What did you have to promise him? Tacos.
Chimichangas.
And
DB Martin,
chimichangas.
thank you for your super chat. You are officially suspended from all social media for 30 days.
Oh my.
Okay, Elon.
Yeah. And then Warrior Justice adds, and my Bloody Valentine sounds like my last day. Hey. Was her name Furiosa?
Oh God.
Did you witness her?
Furiosa that time.
Doesn't that
of the
sound
month.
as fuck? Witness her. That
Oh,
sounds like
God.
fucking woke shit.
Witness her.
Witness her power.
She's presenting.
Is that like opening her legs?
Listen to her voice.
Yeah. The only voice
No.
Yes.
Jason hears kill.
Hear her roar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guess
You're not
her
wrong. He
pronoun.
does hear his mommy's voice. Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway,
my
sorry
lips are
guys.
bleeding.
Let's get out of here. Fuck it. It's late. Like Mikey said. Mikey, what are you doing tomorrow? What are we witnessing? Force of Light asks.
I'm working.
I really don't know.
I'm working tomorrow. Doomcock at night. Typical Wednesday. Oh, the morning show. What are you guys talking about?
Are you gonna pop in? I'm not sure yet. Maybe Richard Dreyfuss will come up. Now that I've kind of
That's
blown the
pretty
lid
fucked
off
up.
that shit.
I feel bad for the guy.
I didn't see any of that shit they're claiming. I'm calling bullshit.
He's
I'm
like the
calling
worst
it
racist.
as
You
real
know,
as
you white
Justin
people used to be
Smollett.
good at racism, and I don't know what happened, but you guys suck.
Yeah, you're right.
True.
We would have protected a racist old bastard like that back in the day. What the fuck?
Somehow, I don't think Dreyfuss is going to struggle over this.
Nah.
Warrior Justice says I finished in 30 seconds, so she was Furiosa.
Whoa! Wow! That's good.
Mikey, do you resemble that remark? Oh no, I'm just kidding. Of course,
me?
not. Mikey is the ladies' man.
Shit, I do not get complaints. My complaint box
I'm
is
sure you
empty.
don't.
There are no cards in my complaint box.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Anyhow, what do you got coming up, Scribe?
Well, strangely enough, I have you coming to my channel tomorrow.
I do plan on.
Yeah.
Tomorrow
So, second in a hopefully ongoing series of having some co-pilots on these things, Tom and I will be looking at a TEDx for a special TED Excellence, and I picked one that is right up Tom's alley. He will not be watching it ahead of time. I had to clarify that to him so that we'll all be watching it blank. But the subject of the TEDx for tomorrow is why diverse creators are better for film.
What?
I know. I guess we're going to
What kind of horse shit is that?
It's called TEDx, and so yeah, tomorrow at it's going to be at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. TED Excellence on my channel, featuring Tom Connors and I going co-piloting me on taking a look at, I guess because I don't watch the things ahead of time, why diverse creators are better for film. And since Tom is such a cinephile and such a film expert, I figured it might be a good idea to have an expert alongside me as I brave the waters of TEDx once more.
Hey, you can't prove that. Oh, cinephile. I thought.
Yes. That I learned that from the Michael Bolton Tale of Captain Jack Sparrow song.
There's a Michael Bolton Tale of Jack Sparrow song.
Wait, you don't know this? What?
No.
What? Okay, I will.
Speaking of diversity in writing and stuff, Connor Dorian says supposedly the MCU is doing their own Venom in the new Spider-Man trilogy. I heard that, and I remember positing stuff about that a while back because I'd heard stuff that Kevin Feige was a big Venom fan and he wanted to find a way to work Venom into their MCU. And I think that's why they chucked him out of the universe and all over the place at the end of the Spider-Verse movie. We'll have to wait and see. We'll see what happens. Possibly. But yeah, so check me out tomorrow on Scribelight. That'll be at what time again? Remind me. Because you told me the Eastern time.
1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern.
4 p.m. Eastern. So it'd be 3 Central time, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Perfect. Nick! Price of Reason is going to tell everybody what you got going on tonight. We're watching The Punisher.
Well, tonight we're watching The Punisher. It's going to be huge and diabolical. We got Pop Culture Minefield, and Tom's going to be stopping by, and that 70s rock fan. So you guys should all join me tonight. It's at 9:30 p.m. Toxic Tuesdays on 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser.
Whoa.
Huge.
Yeah.
Which The Punisher? Which The Punisher?
2004 Thomas Jane. We did
Okay.
Dolph Green last week. We're doing Thomas Jane next week. And, well, if you know your Punisher, you'll know what we're talking about next week, a whole week in advance as well. So,
Did I do okay, Nick?
So,
you did.
yeah.
You did.
Simon,
so come
what
hang
was
out with
your-
us in a half hour. It's going to be diabolically huge.
Diabolically huge. Speaking of diabolical, clobbering times.
Yeah, well, nothing going tonight, but let's see. Tomorrow night, I guess, if Loki's having his comic roundtable, I will be there with him at 7 Eastern, 7 Central. If he's doing that, and I'll be at my house, Clobbering Time channel,
At the clubhouse.
the clubhouse is Thursday night. Wednesday night it'll just be you and me, gang, doing some open geek talk about all things geek, anything goes. And then Thursday night, number one, my wonderful First Officer Raquel and the great Mark D with a C join me to do our usual Blake 7 review, Kolchak Night Stalker episode, and more. And on Fridays, on my buddy J-Man's channel, reviewing all of Jack Kirby's legendary run on the Fantastic Four. And then hanging with Nick and the gang over there at the great comic shop talk with great guests, great guys over there. Now, Raquel will not be here for Saturday Night Star Trek this coming Saturday, but it'll just be me, unfortunately, which I know I'm sad about. But I'll be ranking all of the Star Trek original series episodes in order of from worst to first. That's only I can.
So it's a special edition?
Yeah. When
You need one of those.
I did need that. I need to get that. Thank you. Yeah, I got to see if I can get that. So we get Mark to get that for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, Raquel, unfortunately, won't be able to make it this week. So just little old bees. Let me know what's going to hang out with me probably. So I can do what I want.
We all know that's a lie.
Remember when we
that's
saw
cool.
that shit as kids, we'd lose our fucking minds.
Yes, it's like that's special.
Yes! Be like, Falcon Crest will not be seen tonight.
Tonight. On a very special. Yeah, I remember it well. I need to see if I can find that.
Yeah, so we can show this special presentation. That's what they would say. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and then they would show tonight.
And then it was
Superman 2. That was probably one of my earliest memories of television.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah, the what was it, ABC?
like 4 hours
Sunday
of it.
night movie or whatever.
The
Yeah.
extended cut.
They would never cancel
Superman
Falcon Crest,
2.
though. That was like big money for them.
No, I guess not.
So on that note, Price, what do you actually have coming up here the next few days?
Well, at 10 p.m., I'm on a channel called Diabolical Souls, a.k.a. The Gooch, and I'm watching the final episode of Scavenger's Reign with him and a few other friends. And then at 11:45, there's The Night Owl, which you could see on my live channels, and I hope to see everybody there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Shadow Chasers. I mean, you usually meant you were going to see Charlie Brown or Garfield.
By the way, Nick, was it okay? The pit, you didn't say anything. Was it all right?
Yeah, he said it was good.
It's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, you
It's
didn't
very
seem
nice.
excited.
Oh, I was just trying to listen to observe. I gotta, see like if you're capturing my words. Like I'm like, how much is this band paying attention? So I was really observant.
Well, I tried my best. There was another time that I did better, but I think that this one was you were here listening this time, so didn't feel as natural. But did my best.
I can imagine.
Nice. So yeah, CC, what you got coming up? We're gonna do some karaoke this week.
Yeah, Friday night karaoke. We are coming back with
Yeah.
this week.
It's my
Friday
birthday
night.
week.
Really?
Well, my birthday's Saturday.
Well, it'll be Saturday by the time we're done. So
That's
it could
right.
technically be birthday karaoke as well.
Yeah. Maybe make you some super chat money. Yeah.
Super chat money.
I wish.
Just tell everybody it's my birthday.
Yeah.
I think Tom should do karaoke naked.
How do you know I don't already?
No.
Yeah, Tom's always off camera. We really don't know for sure. what's going on.
Aerodynamics.
Wow. Disturbing.
I make weird faces when I sing.
Okay, then.
You also have
I
a
don't know. I'm just
collection of
very
good wigs.
self-conscious. I do have some good wigs. It's weird as it sounds. Sometimes I am. But yeah. So, and me tonight, I'll try to hop over there, Nick, but Andre sent me some homework. So
Finish your
I'll try to-
homework before you go play with Nick.
And
Pretty
clean your
much.
plate.
Pretty much.
Tom,
He said,
I sent you a video and I need it released to the sponsor by the morning.
I don't know if there's a sponsor on this one, but yeah.
I
It's kind of
don't
the case.
care if we have a sponsor. I need it by the morning.
Yeah, he wants it by the morning. That's for sure.
Oh,
So
yes.
with that, thank you to the wrenches, of course, as always, for your
Stick
help.
around.
And yeah, take care of yourselves and each other. And I will hopefully see you on Nick Weiser's show here in a little bit.
25 minutes, so stick around.
25.
The show will go straight to there. Stick around.
Yeah, I gotta set that up now that you mentioned it.
Oh, there we
Redirect.
go. Yeah. The
Uh,
button.
Where's Punisher?
Here.
New
You want
York
me to send
City.
you the link?
Well, that didn't
By the
sound
time
that
you get it,
bad.
I'll probably find it. But yeah,
Okay, I get it. Thank
I
you.
found it.
Okay, I'm glad you found it.
There we go. Boom. All right, so head on over there, kids, and talk some Punisher. He's gonna punish that poontang. Thank you so much out there, guys, for listening to us. We appreciate it. See you on the morning show. Yes, Sadie, I know it's time to go out. Go ahead and knock some more stuff over.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Night, everybody.
See ya.
Love y'all.
Later.
As a reminder, I've been here when it was glory hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't. And so, having said that,